verses which give the definition of Uttama Bhakti. When Mother Devahuti requested, please tell me what kind of bhakti I am supposed to follow, by which even an ordinary person like me can attain your lotus feet very easily. So that was the question. As an answer to that, Lord Kapila he said, so my dear mother, you are being my mother, you are already liberated, but still you are asking, I will speak about bhakti for the benefit of one and all. So what kind of bhakti can be practiced so that one can easily attain me is Uttama Bhakti, which had the similar characteristics of Annabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavrutam Anukulena Krishnan Shilanam Bhaktiruttamam Sarvapadi Venumuktam Tatpartvena Nemalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktiruttamam. So from Nectar of Devotion, we have taken these two verses and kind of compared and saw. And what happens by bhakti? By the practice of bhakti, the unwanted portions are burnt to ashes, or they are excreted like the waste product from the stomach, and the good portions will nourish our body, our gross body, subtle body, and hence they all become spiritualized. And hence, one comes to the platform of Bhava. And when one executes Bhava Bhakti, whatever happiness one experiences even while executing Bhava Bhakti, that happiness is much superior to that of Brahmananda. Even when a Jnani Yogi, after performing very hard Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, when they reaches Brahman, whatever happiness they experience, that also is not comparable to the happiness a sadhaka experiences while executing Bhava Bhakti itself. That is the greatness of this Bhakti. And then there is a discussion about how to come to Bhava Bhakti. There are two ways to come to Bhava Bhakti. One is by practicing Vedi Sadhana Bhakti. Other one is by practicing Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. So by practicing Vedi Sadhana Bhakti, one comes to Bhava Bhakti, which is called as Vedi Bhava Bhakti. Other one, by practicing Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, one achieves to be Bhava Bhakti, that is called Raganuga Bhava Bhakti. So basically, there are two types of Sadhana Bhaktis and two types of Bhava Bhaktis. There are total 4 categorizations. And the 4 categories are further explained. What do you mean by Vedi Bhava Bhakti? What do you mean by Raganuga Bhava Bhakti? And what do you mean by Vedi Sadhana Bhakti? And what do you mean by Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti? Of course, these things are elaborately explained in Nectar of Devotion, that is recently compiled by Rupa Goswami. But the same things were also defined by Srila Lord Kapila in the Bhagavatam. When Lord Kapila is speaking this entire thing to his mother Devahuti at the beginning of the day of Brahma, because Lord Brahma's son is Swayambhu Manu and also Lord Brahma's son is Kardama. So Swayambhu Manu's daughter married Kardama and they had a son Lord Kapila, and Lord Kapila speaking to Devahuti. That means Brahma's son is Kardama, Kardama's son is Lord Kapila. And Brahma's son is Manu, Manu's daughter is Devahuti, Devahuti, yeah, from that way. It is the second generation of Brahmaji are talking this discussion. So it belongs to the beginning of the day of Brahma. That means very far away discussion. That time itself he talked about all these divisions. Same thing today also we are seeing. That means these divisions are always there. They are eternally existing. They are not something recently manufactured by someone called Rupa Goswami or something like that. So like that. So that is the background connected to the today's section. Today we'll continue. So now, text number 34 to 37, I suppose, they talk about spontaneous Bhava Bhakti, the result of Vedi Sadhana Bhakti. So what kind of mentality these people possess? The devotees, when they come to Bhava platform, how do they execute Bhakti and what kind of mentality they possess? That is being indicated in these 3 verses. 4, 5, 6, 7 or something like that. 4, 3, 4 verses. नैकात्पतां मे स्पृहयन्ति केचिन्
श्रूयन्ति केचिन्
मत्पादसेवाभिरता मदिहा
मत्पादसेवा विरतमत्येह
न्यून्यतो भागवता प्रसज्य
ये अन्यन्यत् भागवतः प्रसज्य
प्रभाजयन्ते मम पौरुषाणि
सभाजयन्ते मम पौरुषाणि. Translation: A pure devotee who is attached to the activities of devotional service and who always engages in the service of my lotus feet never desires to become one with me. Such a devotee who is unceasing engaged always glorifies my pastimes and activities.
Ah, so by executing Vedi sadhana bhakti, when one comes to Bhava bhakti, one of the first symptom is they always want to serve the Lord in person and they never want to enter into Sayujya. So this has been indicated in the first chapter of NOD. The 6 characteristics of Uddhava Bhakti. Kleshagni Shubhada, Moksha Lagutakrit, Sudurlabha, Tandrananda Visheshatma, Sri Krishna Akarshani. Tandrananda Visheshatma and Sri Krishna Akarshani will manifest only in the level of Prema. Kleshagni Shubhada starts manifesting from the time of Sadhana Bhakti. So when one comes to Bhava Bhakti, the Kleshagni and Shubhada becomes more and more stronger, and also there is a manifestation of Moksha Lagutakrit and Sudurlabha. That means coming to the platform of Bhava Bhakti is Sudurlabha. It is not that easy. It is very rare. Very few will come to that. But still, those who come there, they immediately manifest the symptom of Moksha Lagutakrit. मोक्ष को छोटा मानना, मोक्ष को छोटा कंसिडर करना. That is indicated in the current verse. ऐकात्मताम में स्पृहयन्ति केचित् ना एकात्मताम में स्पृहयन्ति केचित्. कभी भी उनका मन में एकात्म होने के लिए इच्छा जागृत होता ही नहीं. Why? Matpada seva abhirata. They are completely situated in Matpada seva, service to my lotus feet. Madiha. That means they are licking the nectar from my lotus feet. Since they are tasting the nectar from my lotus feet, they don't want to look here and there. को और कुछ दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है दुनिया में, because they are completely immersed in licking the nectar of my lotus feet. ये अन्यान्यतो भागवता prasajya. Okay, this they don't do alone, they do it along with other devotees. Machita madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantasya mam nityam tushyanti charamanti cha. Parasparam parasparanu katam pavanam bhagavat yasha mito ratir mito tirtir nivritta mita atmana. 11th canto Bhagavatam says Lord Krishna Uddhava Gita. Parasparanu katanam bhavanam bhagavat yasha. Bhagavat yasha is so pavan, people discuss with each other. Paraspara anukatanam pavanam bhagavat yasha. Mito ratir, as a result of that, everyone experiences rati. Mito truptir, everyone becomes satisfied. Nivritta mita atmana, being thus completely satisfied, they become indifferent to this material existence. That is the, that they become indifferent to material existence, even they become indifferent to Sahaja Mukti also. That is the meaning. These devotees who are engaged in service to my lotus feet, following scriptural rules, Matpada Seva Abhirata, matlab, अभी तक वेदी साधना भक्ति करते करते अभी अभी they entered into Bhava Bhakti, who desire only the taste of my beauty, Madiha. They don't want anything else. They are already tasting and they want to taste that more, nothing more. Who, gathering together, relish my pastimes among themselves, never desire to become one with Brahman. ना एक आत्मनाम में स्पृहयन्ति केचित्. कभी भी उनका मन में ब्रह्मन से एक होने का इच्छा होते ही नहीं. So this is a symptom of one coming to Bhava platform. What kind of disposition the devotees in Bhava have? They don't desire impersonal liberation because they are engaged in serving the lotus feet of the Lord. They are engaged in tasting the Lord's beauty. They discuss Harikatha among, because they are doing all these three They don't want Brahman. In Brahman, all these three are not there. Simple. So you can't see the Lord, you can't taste the nectar from the Lord's lotus feet, and you can't serve the Lord's lotus feet, and you can't discuss Harikatha also. Because in Brahman, everyone is अपना अपना दुनिया में, everyone is meditating. किसी से किसी बात करते नहीं. So that's why these devotees, they don't want to go to Brahman. Having described the qualities of bhakti, now examples are given. First four examples of spontaneous Bhava Bhakti are given. That means four verses 34, 35, 36, 37 talk about spontaneous Bhava Bhakti. That means coming to Bhava Bhakti by the rules and regulations of Vedic literature. That's why it is called Vedi Bhava Bhakti. That means till now one is following all the rules. Once one comes to Bhava Bhakti platform, once Bhakti becomes spontaneous, one no need to be told that okay, you need to follow so and so rules because they are automatically taken care in that way. It was said that this Bhakti is superior to liberation, but since these devotees are full with all happiness, why do they not enjoy the happiness of Brahman? तो कृष्ण का लोटस फीट का नेक्टर एंजॉय कर रहे हैं. They can also enjoy Brahman also. Why they are not looking for Brahman happiness? Because they are very attached to the service of my lotus feet with their senses and not engaged in all in karma or jnana in the presence of scriptures. So from the very beginning, even while practicing sadhana bhakti also, they are very much attached to service to my lotus feet, very much attached to the nectar of my lotus feet. They never looked here and there. Why would they look here and there when they come to Bhava platform? Like that. This is the spontaneous Bhava Bhakti following scripture, devoid of karma and jnana, engaging all the senses in Lord's service only. They have the desire to taste the sweetness of my beauty because they have no other desire. Anyabhilasha shunya. Being attached, they release the nectar of the pastime such as lifting Govardhana while offering respects. Three reasons are given why the devotees do not want liberation. They do not desire to enjoy the happiness of Brahman because there is no service to Lord's lotus feet. Brahman में भगवान का चरण कमल का सेवा है नहीं. And because there is no realization of the Lord's beauty, fragrance, etc. वहां पर भगवान को नजदीक से देख नहीं सकते, भगवान का फ्रेग्रेंस को ग्रहण नहीं कर सकते, भगवान का सुंदर रूप को ग्रहण नहीं कर सकते. Then other things. So in that way, all these things they cannot get, so they don't want to go to Brahman. Finally, because there is no releasing of sweet pastimes, because there in Brahman, no one likes to discuss Krishna Katha. Everyone अपना अपना मन में meditate करना चाहते हैं. So, but devotees always want to hear and discuss Krishna Katha. So, since this possibility is not there in Brahman, they never want to go to Brahman. So, this is the first symptom of one who has come to Bhava. Second one, न कामयेन तदपि अभं क्वचिन्
न कामयेन ततः अहं क्वचिन्
न यत्र युष्माक्षरणाम्बुजाशवा
न यत्र युष्माक्षरणाम्बुजाशवः
महत्तमान्तहृदयान्मुखच्युतो
महत्तमान्तर्हृदयान्मुखच्युतो
विदस्वकर्णायुतमेष मे वरः.
विदस्वकर्णायुतमेष मे वरः. O my mother, my devotees always see the smiling face of my form, my eyes like the rising morning sun. They like to see my various transcendental forms, which are all benevolent, and they all talk favorably with me.
Hare Krishna.
Difference in sloka rules.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, no sound.
This is a different verse, na, Prabhuji?
This is different. Yeah. 31 to 35 is different, yeah, in the book, yeah. The different, this is not 35 voucher, na? 35 sloka. This is different.
This shows the level of Bhava Bhakti. At the Bhava Bhakti level, one thinks like this. One aspires like this kind of Krishna prema.
Prabhuji, this verse is number what?
No, this is not the verse from this chapter. This is from the previous canto. I just read it. But anyway, this chapter verse is the next one.
Acha, acha.
Because the devotees do not desire even merging in Brahman, they attain in the following from me. Because the devotees never ask Brahman from me, I will give them something wonderful. So what is that Lord is giving the devotees? Bhava Bhaktas? Let us continue. Pashyanti te me ruchirani ambasantah.
Pashyanti te me ruchirani ambasantah.
Prasanna vaktrarunalocanane.
Prasanna vaktraruna lochanani.
Rupani divyani varapradhani.
Rupani divyani varapradani.
Sakam vacham spruhaniyam vadanti.
Sakam vacham sprahaniyam vadanti. O mother, my devotees always see the smiling face of my form, my eyes like the rising morning sun. They like to see my various transcendental forms, which are all benevolent, and they all talk favorably with me. They also talk favorably with me.
Yeah. What do they get? What do the Bhaktas get? What Lord gives them? Oh mother, the devotees see my attractive red eyes, Ruchirani Aruna Lochanani, in my smiling face, Prasanna Vaktra, and my spiritual forms, Rupani Divyani, which bestow blessings, Varapradani. They speak pleasing words with me. That means they will have Saksha Darshan of the Supreme Lord once in a while in Bhava Bhakti. Because they have Bhava Darshan of the Lord, the eagerness to be with the Lord will increase thousandfold. That is when they come to Prema Bhakti and they don't want to stay anymore in this material world because they already saw the Lord. Now, Hare Krishna, now you are
Prabhuji, you
able
are
to hear
not
me?
audible. No, Prabhuji.
Yes, some network issue, but now you are hearing.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So, here Lord is saying that such Bhava Bhaktas will get to have my darshan. And then, because they had darshan of the Lord, they developed intense eagerness to see the Lord once again and continuously for the rest of eternity. That is when they enter into the Prema platform. In Prema platform, the devotee is continuously cries and he says, I can't stay anymore in this world. I want to see the Lord. I want to serve the Lord in person. बहुत हो गया भौतिक दुनिया में रहते हुए. He will be continuously crying until he goes to spiritual world. That is what happens to one in Prema. But what happens to one in Bhava? This is what. Because they give up even Brahman also, Lord, in order to reciprocate with them, Lord gives them an experience of his darshan to the Bhava Bhaktas. Allows them to see and enjoy his form, allows them to speak with me. So they offer prayers to Lord, Lord responds, all these things will happen. That means whatever we see in the Bhagavatam, all the devotees are having darshan of the Supreme Lord. They are offering prayers and Lord responding. All these are activities of Bhava Bhakti. In Bhava platform, they will have Lord darshan, they will offer prayers, Lord will speak to them. As a result of that, they get to see the Lord, they get to smell the form of the Lord, and they get to hear from the form of the Lord. All these things will take place. And fortunate souls like Prahlad Maharaj, not Prahlad, Prahlad, Dhruva, and Brahma, they get the touch of the hands of the Supreme Lord. Like that. See, that means representative of activities such as hearing, chanting, and tasting. Seeing also includes hearing, chanting, and tasting. Similarly, seeing forms is representative of hearing sounds, smelling fragrances, and touching the Lord's skin, etc. The form gives benedictions, Varapradani, in the form of spiritual service. Devotees, please accept this gift. They speak with me. Their words express some desire, not the happiness of Varga or someone. न पारमेष्टं न महेन्द्रदिष्णं न सार्वभौमं न ससाधिपत्यं न योगसिद्धिरपुनर्भुवं वा समञ्जयेत्वा न योगसिद्धिम् अपुनर्भवं वा मयि अर्पितात्मेच्छति मद्विनायात् विनान्यात्. So this prayer they say, desiring to hear those words, I say, please accept this boon. So when Lord said that, please take this, then the devotee said that, I don't want Parameshtam, I don't want the position of Brahma. Na Mahendra Dishnim, I don't want the position of Indra. Na Sarvabhauma, I don't want the position over Bhumandala. Na Rasadipati, I don't want the position over the Bilasvargas. Na Yoga Siddhis, I don't want Ashtasiddhis. Apunarbhuma, I don't even want Sahaj Mukti. Why? My Arpita Atma Ichchati Mad Vinayad. They say that because if you are not there in all these places, what is the use of taking all these things? We only want you, but not anything else. If you are there, we can take anything else. So like that, the devotees say. So it's like that. So when devotees say that I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want this, then Lord says, at least take this. What is that? Take my darshan. Be happy with my darshan. So then, hearing this wonderful prayer from the devotees, then Lord shows his own transformation to such devotees. Says that because there is superior eternal happiness in bhakti through the realization of the Supreme Lord. So like that. Because they are experiencing the intense taste in Lord's beauty and Lord's service, they are not looking for Brahmananda. That is understanding. So then, this taste for merging in Brahman arises from the amazing experience of the sweetness from seeing me. Yes, by having the darshan of Supreme Lord, they develop complete disgust from this material beauty, material happiness. And then what happens? Next verse continues. Hare Krishna, devotees are able to follow. Any questions?
Yes, Prabhuji, we are able to follow. They are able to follow, Prabhuji. Please continue.
Okay. Te darshaniya vayavairuddhara
तैर्दर्शनीया
Someone can repeat.
वयवैरुदारा तैर्दर्शनीया
Vilasaha se kshitavama suktai
विलासहासेक्षितवामसूक्तैः
ऋतात्मनोऽऋत प्राणांश्च भक्तेर्
हृतात्मनो हृत प्राणांश्च भक्तिर्
अनिच्छतो मे गतिमान् विप्रयुङ्क्ते
अनिच्छतो मे गतिम् अन्विं प्रयुङ्क्ते. Translation. Upon seeing the charming forms of the Lord, smiling and attractive, and hearing his very pleasing words, the pure devotee almost loses all other consciousness. His senses are freed from all other engagements, and he becomes absorbed in devotional service. Thus, in spite of his unwillingness, he attains liberation without separate endeavor.
So here the understanding is, to the devotees whose minds and senses have been stolen by the attractive limbs of the Lord, which contain pleasing words, glances, smiles, and pastimes, and which fulfill their desires, Bhakti offers them liberation, though they do not desire it. So, the Bhava Bhaktas who, having seen the transcendental form of the Supreme Lord, they completely forget all their hard work and they are completely immersed in the joy of having the darshan of Lord's beauty. Lord says that even though as a result of that they do not ask for liberation, Sahajya Mukti or Brahmananda, while taking them to Vaikuntha, Lord actually sent first to take them to Brahman for some time, give them Brahmananda, and then take them to Vaikuntha. The reason is, in the future, after going to Vaikuntha, they should not say that I heard Brahmananda is nowhere comparable, but I don't have practical experience of that. तो बोलने वाला बहुत बोलते हैं, but unless until you go through the experience, you don't have proper conviction. So in order to give that, even though the devotees do not want Brahmananda, Lord takes them to Brahmananda for some time and then he takes them back to one's respect to abode. So like that. To the devotees, okay, this we have read it. Lord's reciprocation such devotees awards them liberation though they do not want it. The limbs of Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, and other forms are very attractive, and possesses attractive words, glances, smiles, and pastimes, which fulfill the desires of all the deities, because their minds and senses are attracted by these things. They do not desire Sahyajya Mukti. But Bhakti bestows liberation. Oh devotees, please accept liberation in the Brahman also. Though it is said, but they do not take it, because their minds have been stolen by the sweet words, glances, smiles, and pastimes of the Lord. Brahman, even though they are standing in front of Brahmananda, but they don't show any interest in that because they are eager to go to Vaikuntha and see the Lord and serve the Lord. In front of that great eagerness to see and serve the Lord, the Brahmananda becomes insignificant. That's why, even though Bhakti Devi gives them the liberation, the devotees don't accept it. So that is understanding. If that is so, then why does omniscient Bhakti offer it to them? अभी वो devotees को नहीं चाहिए तो क्यों offer कर रहे हैं? प्रश्न आ सकते हैं. The reason is, he who can give Chintamani made of valuable diamonds and rubies sometimes makes a show of giving gold. Otherwise, the foolish who desire worldly, otherwise, the foolish who desire only gold would cause disturbance by saying that the donor has no gold. Somebody may say that, hey, kya? Vishnu Vaikuntha Vaikuntha bol rahe, Vishnu can't give Brahman, then what is the use of Vishnu? Like that, somebody may say. So, for to avoid that kind of unnecessary criticism, Lord says, मैं भक्तों को भी Brahman देता हूँ. What is this? But my devotees don't take Brahman, but they are desiring to come to Vaikuntha. That means Brahman is nowhere comparable to Vaikuntha. That in order to establish that, Lord is doing this. So like that. Bhakti, in order to destroy foolishness of purported jnanis who desire only the liberation offers liberation to the devotees, but does not really the desire of enjoyment. So, in one sense, Bhakti Devi, in order to destroy the foolishness of the purported jnanis who desire only liberation, who say that ये तो भगवान वैकुंठ दे रहे हैं, ब्रह्मन दे रहे हैं, नहीं दे रहे, मतलब ये भगवान का वश में नहीं ब्रह्मन को देने का, ब्रह्मन तो सुपीरियर है, उसके लिए हमको ब्रह्मन के पास जाना चाहिए, भगवान नहीं दे सकते. That means Bhagavan is inferior to Brahman. Like that, somebody may come to a conclusion. But in order to avoid that, here Lord says that Bhakti Devi gives Brahman also to the devotees, but the devotee does not show any interest in Brahman. That indirectly shows that Brahman is inferior to Vaikuntha. Devotees often pray, let me stay in the material world birth after birth, but with devotion to you. However, Bhakti makes the devotees take that position of an associate of the Supreme Lord. Bhakti forcefully makes them take liberation to experience the happiness of Brahman, though they do not want it. But then the Lord pulls them out of that realization in the manner that Krishna pulled the inhabitants of Vraja out of Brahma Hrudaya and placed them in the spiritual world. And thus, the Lord makes the devotees as his associates in the spiritual world and drowns them in the eternally in the bliss of devotional service, Krishna Prema. Thus, Bhakti could offer liberation before those persons realize full happiness with the Lord in his abode. This can be understood from bathing in the meanings of the next two verses clearly. So basically, just like Lord Krishna showed the Vrajavasis all the lokas, then he showed Brahman, then he showed Vaikuntha, then he showed Golok Vrindavan. So in that way. So Lord Krishna took Vrajavasis to Brahman. While they are looking in the Brahman here and there, Lord Krishna then took them to Vrindavan. Next, again brought them to the same Vrindavan only. Same way, similarly, the Supreme Lord takes each and every devotee first to Brahman, gives them Brahmananda, even though they don't want forcefully, it is given to them. Afterwards, they are really worked, revived. So basically, once they experience Brahman and then they go to Vaikuntha, when they experience Bhagavan, the happiness in the presence of Bhagavan, then they can actually compare which is superior, which is inferior. If somebody had understood that Brahmananda is superior, they would have come back to Brahman. But we have we have no example of somebody who has gone to Vaikuntha and then came back to Brahman. So it is like that. And then the next verse. Ato vibhutim mamamaya vinastam mayamana vinastam
Venastam
aishwaryamashtangam anupravrittim
Aishwarya Ashtanga Anupravrittam
Sriyam bhagavatim vispruhayanti badram
Shriyam Bhagavatim Vaspriyanti Bhadram
parasya mete shrunuvattu loke.
Parasya Mete Shunuvate Tu Loke. Thus, because he is completely absorbed in thought of me, the devotee does not desire even the highest benediction obtainable in the upper planetary system, including Satyaloka. He does not desire the eight material perfection obtained from mystic yoga, nor does he desire to be elevated to the kingdom of God. Yet, even without desiring them, the devotee enjoys, even in this life, all the offered benedictions.
So here, Lord Kapila says, the devotees certainly do not desire attainment of the happiness of the material universe piled up by Maya, the powers of Yoga Siddhis following Bhakti. So basically, in the previous verses, it is said that the Bhava Bhaktas does not even desire Brahmananda. Then what to speak of desiring the material happiness such as Swarga and the happiness derived by obtaining the 8 mystic siddhis such as such things. The devotees never want all the such kind of things. The auspicious rewards of residing in Vaikuntha are the bliss of Brahman, but the devotee attains the abode of me, the Supreme Lord. Even Balki, the devotees even do not ask the Lord directly, Lord, please give me Vaikuntha, please give me that. They don't ask. They only say, please give me seva, but continuously. But the problem is that the Lord does not want to give the seva to the devotees continuously in the material world. So, because material world itself is temporary, how give continuous seva? So, for that reason, Lord takes such kind of devotees to spiritual world and gives them his service for the rest of eternity. So, in that way, Lord's reciprocation with the devotees is he awards them his own abode. It is said that Bhakti gives the results of karma, jnana, and yoga performed with the absence of those practices. Since those practices cannot give the results without some bhakti. One practices karma yoga to go to Swarga, practices jnana yoga and ashtanga yoga to go to Brahman. But they need to be practiced along with bhakti. Without bhakti, they themselves cannot give any results. Similarly, just by practicing bhakti, one can go to Golok Vrindavan, one can go to Vaikuntha, one can go to Brahman, one can go to Swarga also. Whatever one can attain by the practice of other processes can also be attained by bhakti alone. At the same time, practicing other processes alone, one cannot attain any results. They need to have little bhakti in that. Yat karma yat tapasa jnana vairagya yat yogena dana dharmena shreyo birtarairapi sarvam madbhakti yogena madbhakto labate anjasa sarga pavargam maddama katam chidyadi vanchati. For a divorce, Lord gives, and then Pavarga, Lord gives. What all? Whatever results one can attain by performing karma, whatever one can attain by performing tapasya, jnana, vairagya, yoga, dana, dharma, shreyobi, rapi, the results such as Swarga, Pavarga, Madhyama, anything one can attain by the practice of bhakti alone. So bhakti can award all the results. This verse. Thus, in reality, Swarga and other results are the results of Bhakti alone. This verse describes that the pure devotee living on the abode of the Lord experiences all happiness which arises from the bliss of worshipping the Supreme Lord. All the happiness within the universe consolidated by Maya after destruction of ignorance and the happiness derived from the powers of yoga are simply attainable by following Bhakti. The devotees certainly do not desire the wealth in Vaikuntha, such as Sharishti and the bliss of Brahman, since their minds and senses are absorbed in Lord's smile and glances only. So they do not desire these things. They attain Vaikuntha, the abode of the Supreme Lord. This is Lord's particular affection for his. Basically, the devotees only ask two things. So, my dear Lord, I want to have your darshan. I want to have the opportunity to serve you for the rest of eternity. This is the desire of the devotees. बाकी कुछ भी रहे चाहिए बोलते. But in order to facilitate The fulfillment of this desire, the Supreme Lord takes his devotees to Vaikuntha.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, in
So
between you are not
there is some
audible.
internet issue coming again and again. Some devotees have opened their video.
Oh.
Kindly close your videos.
Bhakti
Bhakti
Gopi
Gopi
Mataji,
Mataji.
please close your video.
Yeah, thank you. So these are the examples of someone who reached Bhava Bhakti platform. Basically, they don't want anything in this world. They only want the Lord Darshan and Lord's service. So which Lord cannot give it for a long time in this material world. That's why the Lord takes his devotees to Vaikuntha and gives them full-fledged opportunity to serve him for the rest of eternity. So this is the first state. But the first of the four categories, this is first one. The next verse talks about second one. What is the mentality of a person who, after reaching Bhava Bhakti through the practice of Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti? So that is indicated in the next verse. Any questions till now?
No, Prabhuji, no.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
न करिचिन्मत्परास्तान्तरूपे
न कर्हि चिन्मत्परः शान्तरूपे
न क्षन्ति नो मे निमिषो लेडिहेतिः
नाङ्क्षन्ति नो मे निमिषो लेदिहेतिः. Hare Krishna. I can't hear you, Prabhuji.
No voice, Prabhuji.
In the meanwhile, मैं पढ़ लेता हूँ. येषामहं प्रिय
Okay.
आत्मसुखश्च सुखा गुरुः सुहृदो दैवमीष्टम्. The Lord continued, my dear mother, devotees who receive such transcendental opulences are never bereft of them. Neither weapons nor the change of time can destroy such opulences, because the devotees accept me as their friend, their relative, their son, preceptor, benefactor, and supreme deity. They cannot be deprived of their positions at any time. Hare Krishna.
So here in this verse, Lord says that the devotees in the spiritual world are never deprived of any enjoyment. My wheel of time does not afflict those devotees for whom I am a lover, the Atma, I am a son, I am a friend, I am an elder, I am a companion, I am a worshipful deity. Basically, Lord is saying that people are familiar with different sambandhas, different relationships in the material world. So one may say that, so you are to come to Vaikuntha, what will be there in Vaikuntha? Here at least I have mother, father, friend, wife, children, this, that, so many things are there. Lord says, don't worry. When you come to Vaikuntha, you can have all these things with me. Some consider me as their husband, Some considers me as their father, some considers me as their son, some considers me as their friend, their elder, their junior, their companion, their worshipful deity. All these possibilities are there. In the material world, we may have so many sambandhas, but they are all time bound. The sambandhas will be destroyed either when they are our elders are died or when we die by the influence of time. But in the spiritual world, there is no influence of time, and the sambandhas are never destroyed. They are everlasting, ever increasing sambandhas. So this is the difference between the sambandhas in the material world and sambandhas in the spiritual world. This achievement of the spiritual world by the devotees is not like the achievement of Swarga. Why? The devotees' achievement is permanent, as they have established the relationship with all the permanent Lord. Even if one go to Swarga, one may live there long time, but one has to come back. On the other hand, if one goes to Vaikuntha, there is no coming back. The relationship is eternal. But since the devotee attains a planet, there will be destruction of the enjoyer and the enjoyed as on Swarga. अभी स्वर्ग भी एवरी मनवंतर के बाद डिस्ट्रॉय होता रहता है, सब लोग मर जाते स्वर्ग में या मनवंतर के बाद, तो वैकुंठ में भी ऐसा होगा. My devotee dwelling on my abode, which is without transformation, are never without enjoyment. My wheel of time does not affect them. In Vaikuntha, there is no influence of time. That's why we say, na, when somebody leaves their body, Jevom Nityalila Pravishta, Ashtottara Shata, Sri Srimad, Bhakti Siddhanta, Bhakti Vedanta, like that we say. We say that Nitya Leela Pravishta, that means there the Leela is constantly going on. There is no influence of time in the spiritual world. A Brahma Even Vishnu Sahasranama says that Vaikuntha is the most exalted place, devoid of fear of return. In this material world, even one goes to Brahmaloka, there is a fear of return, but not in the spiritual world. When one goes to spiritual world, one will not come back to this material world. So what they do in the spiritual world, having gone there, some devotees act as lovers, some act as Shanta Bhaktas, seeing the Lord as Atma, some act as parents, seeing the Lord as son, and some see the Lord as a friend, Saka, Suhruda, Sakke Baba. Some act in a particular dasa relationship and see him as a guru, as elder, seeing the Lord as worshipful deity in Dasi Baba. Like the different ways of Dasi Baba are there. So Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vasalya, and Madhurya, all these five rasas are manifested in the spiritual world. Thus, there is no need to look back from the spiritual world. Pati Putra Suhrud Bhatrur Pitruvan Mitravandarim Ye Dhyayanti Sadodyuktas Tebyo Piha Namo Namaha. I offer repeated respects to those who, with constant endeavor, meditate on the Lord as husband, son, relative, brother, parent, or friend. So basically, while practicing bhakti, those who contemplate upon the Lord like this, unto them I offer my obeisances. Like that, Narayana Vyuhastava. This is the text which says the writer, the composer of this text says this. Shruti says, Eme Vaisha Vrunute Tena Labhyaha. I am attained by those whom I chose. Though everyone may possess so many desires, but Lord will give that opportunity only to those whom Lord chooses. Lord has that special feature. The Lord is attained by the person whom the Lord accepts as lover, parent, brother, friend, son, or servant. The Lord is independent. It is his choice whom to select, whom not to select. The present verse should be understood to be an example of the spontaneous Bhava Bhakti of Raganuga type, but not sadhana, since it is in the spiritual world. The experience one goes through in this, as mentioned in this verse, is all in the spiritual world. So like that. So this is an example of Raga Anuga Bhava Bhakti.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Ah,
Prabhuji, but we hear that Ragunaga Bhakti
yes,
is
Prabhu,
only
go ahead.
applicable to Hare Krishna. Hare
Ah,
Bol.
yes.
Like Raganuga Bhakti is applicable to only Golok Vrindavan, no? Or it is like in Vaikuntha also some devotees practice Raganuga Bhakti.
Yeah, can be there, na? Why not? In Vaikuntha also, of course, there is Aishwarya is there, superior Bhava mein, but may not be, we can say 100% Raganuga, but some portion of Raganuga can be there, na? Some devotees can be at most spontaneous, may not be 100%, but there is a possibility. Why not?
You mean to say in
Full-fledged
terms of
Raganuga is possible in
spontaneity?
Gokula only.
Okay.
For example, Jay Vijaya, who were in Vaikuntha, they had respect for the Lord, but they also developed a desire to fight with the Lord, because Lord wanted to fight, Lord wanted to have good fight, and they voluntarily accepted. So, my dear Lord, we will fight with you. Even though we have to become asuras, we will become asuras and give you fighting happiness. So that is one step ahead of Aishwarya. They are also kind of entering into the spontaneity. We can say like that.
Okay, so but that they perform that particular service in this material world, not in spiritual world. No, in spiritual world they are almost Dasya Bhav is very prominent in all, across the Vaikuntha, right?
Okay.
So in when you say that Raghunaga Bhakti is applicable in Vaikuntha, so in but I'm not able to understand this, how it is applicable in Vaikuntha's perspective.
See, basically, from Aishwarya point of view, from Sadhana Bhakti point of view, when one enters into Bhava Bhakti, the principal mode of serving the Lord is Bhava Dasya Bhakti only. But if somebody is already practicing Raganuga Bhakti, even, of course, for Goloka Vrindam is 100% applicable. But even for Vaikuntha also, there is a possibility of some devotees who have 50% Aishwarya and 50% Raganuga, and still they can also have the experience of being the parents of similar. For example, Dasharath Maharaj and Kausalya. Okay.
Yeah.
And Dwaraka also. In Dwaraka, we have Devaki, Vasudev. So they are like the mixture of
Yes.
Aishwarya and Madhurya.
Okay.
Okay.
You mean to say some Madhurtha also exists in Vaikuntha?
Yes, why not? It may not be 100%, but it is also there.
Okay, bro. Also, Prabhu, you mentioned you were saying that in Brahmana, the Brahmavadis, when they go there, they meditate. So, whom they meditate means they meditate on whom? Like they meditate on Brahman only.
Brahman only. Brahmavadis are aspirants of going to Brahman.
But they have attained Brahman, that they are in Brahman, so they are in Brahman also. They are meditating on Brahman.
Yes, they meditate upon Brahman.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So there is one verse in the second canto 9th chapter which says that in Vaikuntha there is no Rajas, no Tamas, and no Sattva mixed with Rajas and Tamas. That means only pure Sattva Guna is there in Vaikuntha. There is no influence of time. There is no influence of Maya at all. What to speak of its products such as material elements. In Vaikuntha, the inhabitants are fully dedicated to the Lord, to the service of the Lord, and are worshipable by the Devatas, Asuras, and devotees. So this is the nature of the Devata Vaikuntha Vasis who are living in Vaikuntha. And they are not at all influenced by time and Maya. So like that. And now The next set of verses will talk about sadhana bhakti. What is the nature or the mentality of the devotees who practicing Vedic sadhana bhakti? What kind of mentality do they have? That is explained in the next set of verses. Imam lokam tathaivamun
Imam lokam tathaivamun
atmanam ubayayinam
atmanam ubayayinam
atmanam anuyecheha
atmanam anuye cheha
eraya pasavo gruha
keraya pasavo graha
visrujya sarvan anyamscha
visrajya sarvan anyamscha
mamevam vishwato mukam
mam evam vishwato mukham
bhajanti ananyaya bhaktya
bhajanti ananyaya bhaktya
tan murtyor atiparaye.
tan mrityor atiparaye. Thus, the devotee who worships me, the all-pervading Lord of the universe, in unflinching devotional service, giving up all aspirations to be promoted to heavenly planets or to become happy in this world with wealth, children, cattle, home, or anything in relationship with the body. I take him to the other side of birth and death. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I'm done.
Prabhu. So here Lord says, giving up attachment to bodily identification, which produces the enjoy in this life and the next life. So basically, while living in this world, we have attachment. We have an identity. I am a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, I am a Vaishya, I am Shudra, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. And along with identity, there are some particular activities. When one performs those activities properly, one is entitled to go to Swarga for the equivalent amount of time, and one is supposed to enjoy in that. Even while executing those things, one is respected here. So that's why it is said that giving up attachment to bodily identification, which produces the enjoyments in this life and in the next life. So when we have a particular identity, we perform activities and they give us enjoyment in this life also, and they give us enjoyment in the next life when we go to Swarga. And giving up as well related persons such as wife and sons. That means giving up one's attachment to other people in this world, and items such as wealth, animals, and house. The devotee with exclusive bhakti worship me, who stand before them wherever they are. I take them beyond the world and death. So indirectly, Lord Kapila is saying that when one is practicing Vedic sadhana, one should cultivate this kind of mentality. So all of us, while practicing Vedic sadhana bhakti, we need to cultivate this kind of mentality. That means we should not be too much attached to our entity. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu states one verse in the DT services, the Brahman initiated devotees before entering into the temple, they do Nyasa ceremony. So in that Nyasa ceremony, there is a prayer to be chanted. Naham Vipro Nachanarapatir Napi Vaishyo na Shudro. Naham Varni Nachakulapatir Na Gruhasto Yatirva. Gopi Bardur Padakamalayur Dasa Dasanu Dasa. I am not a Brahmana, I am not a Kshatriya, I am not a Vaishya, I am not a Shudra, I am not a Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, Vanaprastha, or Sannyasi. Who am I? I am the servant of 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 the gopis who are serving Lord Krishna. So like that. So one should have only that identity. One should not have any other identities. I am not husband, I am not father, I am not I am not the manager, I am not the this, that. All these things identities should be given up. Sarva upadi vinmuktam satparatya nirmanam rushikena rushikesh sevanam bhaktiruttamam. So one need to come to that platform. Then only slowly one can enter into Bhava platform. That is the understanding. So such kind of devotees are personally taken by the Supreme Lord beyond the ocean of material existence. Tan mrityor atipaye. I will take them to spiritual world. Such kind of sadhana bhaktas. Like that Lord is giving ashwasan to Vedi sadhana bhaktas. So what are the Vedi sadhana bhakti points? For those who are not qualified for Bhava, sadhana bhakti is recommended. They give up bodily attachments of this world and the next and worship me. I reciprocate with such people by taking them beyond the birth and death, beyond this material existence. Because for my service, they have given up everything. So I'll make sure that they'll get my service for the rest of eternity. That is understanding. They give up attachment to being the enjoyer, which leads to attachment to visible enjoyment of this world and attachment to the invisible enjoyment of the next life. Just as one who is attached to material enjoyment praises enjoyment, one who has rejected the enjoyment criticizes the material enjoyment. The karmis praise the material enjoyment, the jnanis criticize the material enjoyment. Even though he is sometimes engaged in sense enjoyment, my devotee knows that all sense gratification leads to a miserable result and he sincerely repents for such activities. Jushamanasya tan kaman dukko darkamsta garayan. Even sometimes devotees are engaged in material and sense gratification, but they immediately regret, but they continue to perform devotional service. As a result of that, they are not too attached to material enjoyment. They also reject other things related to that, son, wife, and other things and material objects such as wealth. I, the Lord, stand in front of the devotees, whether they go, wherever they go. So, for such a devotees who have given up everything in this material world, afterwards, wherever they go, I'll be with them. I only become their possession. I only become their friend. I only become their wealth. I only become their family member. Everything I'll become to them, to such a devotee. I, the Lord, stand in front of the devotees wherever they go. They have bhakti, which is divide of karma, jnana, and devata worship. I make them cross beyond the ocean of samsara, even though they do not want to cross samsara, since they desire only bhakti. I do not inform them of this. Such kind of devotees only practice bhakti. They only think of going back to Godhead. So they say that we are not qualified. हमारा हमारा तो निवृत्ति हुआ नहीं अभी कहाँ वैकुंठ के बारे में सोचेंगे. But by looking at one's dedication, the Supreme Lord immediately takes one to spiritual world. Matlab may not be immediately, after some time, but one need to showcase that one is practicing sincerely and one want to serve the Lord for the rest of eternity. It has already been said in verse 33 that Bhakti destroys the subtle body. Jarati Ashya Kosham Nigiranam Analo Yata. So in that way, in this way, the Vedi Sadhaka Bhaktas also are personally taken care by the Supreme. When they show that they want to serve the Lord alone, then Lord takes the responsibility of taking them back to Godhead. So some examples are there from Nectar of Devotion. For more details, you can read through notes. Nectar of Instruction, Upadesha Amrita. The first 7 verses talks about how to practice Vedi Sadhana Bhakti, how to raise from Shraddha to Ruchi. Afterwards, one enters into Asakti platform. The Asakti platform can be called as Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. It is still sadhana only, but on the Raganuga platform, Asakti state. So there, what kind of bhakti one need to practice? can be understood from this verse, text number 8. Tannama Rupa Charitad Sukirtananu Nutyo Kramena Rasana Manasi Niyojya Krishtan Braje Tadunuragi Jananuragi Kalam Nayed Akilam Iti Upadesha Saram. This is the stage which takes one from Vedi to Raganuga Bhakti. This verse describes the method or process of bhajana as well as the topmost or best place for performing bhajana, that is Vrindavan. So basically, one can very easily practice Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti having gone to Vrindavan by hearing the Vrajava about Vrajavasis, how they executed Ragatmika Bhakti unto Lord Krishna. Hearing that, following the footsteps of the Vrajavasis, if one want to execute, if one executes Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, they can quickly achieve the perfection. So one positive example, because this is written by Rupa Goswami, he is quoting from Vrindavan point of view. So then, in relation to that, there are some references from Chaitanya Charitamrita also. What do you mean by Raganuga Bhakti, Ragatmika Bhakti, and all those things? So in that Ragatmika and Raganuga Bhakti, basically one want to serve the Lord either in Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vasalya, and Madhurya. So in Shanta, one aspires to be like the Lord Krishna's cows, or the stick or flute in his hand, or the flowers around his neck. These are the aspirations of the Shanta Bhaktas in the Raganuga platform. Shanta Bhakta in the Vedi platform, they want to go to a Brahman and they want to remain peaceful and meditate upon Lord. That is Shanta from the Aishwarya Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti point of view. And this is Shanta from the Raganuga point of view. And Dasya means one follows in the footsteps of the servants like Chitraka, Patraka, Raktaka. Sakya is one can become a friend like Valdeva, Sudama, and Sridama. Vasalya means parental affection. One can become like Nanda, Yashoda, and other elderly Gopas and Gopis. Madhurya is characterized by conjugal love. One can become like Srimati Radharani, her friend ladies such as Lalita, and her servants like Manjaris, like Rupamandari, Ragamandari, etc. These are some examples from the Gaudiya Vaishnava point of view. Except by devotion to me. Okay, this is text number 41. Okay. Without devotion to me, there is no deliverance. So in the previous verse, Lord said that one who dedicates to me exclusively, I will take the responsibility of taking them back to Godhead. Somebody may ask question, if I am not dedicated to Lord Vishnu exclusively, then what will happen to me? For which Lord Kapila is responding now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, here the previous title you gave that's non-spontaneous devotion. So, but the Vedic Bhakti also gives Bhava Bhakti, right?
When you enter into Bhava Bhakti, it becomes spontaneous. But when you are still in the Vedic Bhakti, we need constant push. It is not so spontaneous.
So, last verse describe the devotees who have non-spontaneous Vedic Bhakti, right?
Non-spontaneous Bhakti. Text number 13 and 40, it is talking about Vedi Sadhana Bhakti, where there is no spontaneity.
So, even without achieving Bhava, one can attain Vaikuntha.
See, Prabhuji, one will enter into Vaikuntha, Bhava Bhakti also, but basically, what should be the mood we should cultivate while practicing Vedi Sadhana Bhakti? Of course, one need to go through Bhava Bhakti and then Prema Bhakti, then only one goes to Vaikuntha. That is there. But the thing is that if one shows such kind of determination, even at the stage of Vedi Sadhana Bhakti, Lord will take complete responsibility of the devotee. So, by the way, he passes through Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti channel and then enters into Vaikuntha. They are also there, but it's basically the importance of the mood one should cultivate is being indicated.
Okay. No, because I got confused with the title. I thought that even without achieving the Bhava and enters Vaikuntha. So the focus here is the mood, not the destination. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, so the focus here is mood, not the destination.
Yes, because sadhana bhakta, he will never say Lord to the Lord, please take me to Vaikuntha, because he knows I may just a sadhaka, I have long way to go. So he only focuses on trying to come to the platform of exclusive service of the Lord. Then Lord says, since you want to serve me completely, sarvadharman partyajya mamekam sharan vraja, then Lord says, aham tvam sarva papebhi mokshishcham, I will take the responsibility of taking care of you to take you back home, back to Godhead. That is understanding.
Okay, bro.
Hmm. नान्यत्र मद्भगवता Hare Krishna, someone please repeat.
Nanyatra madbhagavata
Pradhana Purusheshwarat
Sadhana Purusheshwarat
Atmana Sarva Bhutanam
Atmana Sarva Bhutanam
Bhayam Tivram Nivartate.
Evram Nivartate. The terrible fear of birth and death can never be forsaken by anyone who resorts to any shelter other than myself. For I am the Almighty Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original source of all creation, and also the Supreme Soul of all the souls.
So here it says that without devotion to me there is no deliverance. What do you mean by that? Except by devotion to me, Mad Anyatra. Unto whom? As Krishna Bhagavan, Rama, the Lord of Vaikuntha, or by devotion to the Purusha avatars. Intense fear in the material world cannot be stopped. So now the reason is one should take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Who is that Supreme Lord? Then Lord Kapila is telling about all those things. Fear of material world can be overcome only by Ananya Bhakti unto Supreme Lord. Only by Ananya Bhakti, not mixed Bhakti. Though having unlimited forms as the object of Bhakti, the Lord has three specific forms which should be served, starting from the highest form. Though Lord has unlimited forms, but here Lord Kapila recommending only three forms or three category of forms. What are the three category of forms? First is the form of the original Bhagavan, who is fully manifest as Lord Krishna alone. The first form is Bhagavata. Who is that? Lord Krishna. Next is Sri Rama, the main Lord of the spiritual world. So, Nanyatra Mad Bhagavata Pradhana Purusheshwara. Pradhana Purusheshwara is Lord Rama, the Lord of the spiritual world, Vaikuntha. And then the third form is the third, Atmana Sarvabhutanam. The third takes the three forms at the Antaryami of Jiva, that is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, the Antaryami of the entire universe, that is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and the Antaryami of the entire Prakriti, that is Karanodakshaya Vishnu. That means either one should take shelter of Lord Krishna, or one should take shelter of Lord Rama, or one should take shelter of one of the three Purusha avatars. Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, or Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Only these people can avoid complete fearlessness. Then one may say that, oh, then what about other avatars? What, why they can't worship? The Purusha avatars also include the forms like Matsya and Kurma others. All Leela avatars can also be included in the list of Purusha avatars. That means first is Lord Krishna, second is Lord Rama, third is all the other forms of the Supreme Lord. The Leela avatars, Manvantara avatars, Yuga avatars, Guna avatars, Shakti Avesh avatars, they are all part of the third category, which is called as Atmana Sarva Bhutanam. So in that way, you have just said that devotees worship you without worshipping other devatas. Anyatra Ananyaya Bhaktya. Will the devatas not being worshipped become angry and give suffering to your devotees sometimes? The Lord answers with time, with pride. Somebody may say that आपने बोल रहे हैं आपको सेवा करने का, आप मतलब आपका 3 category of forms, भगवान कृष्णा, भगवान राम और कारणोदक विष्णु, गभीर विष्णु and other लीला अवतारास, इनमें ही वर्शिप करना चाहिए. If by chance I don't worship, because of worshipping you, I am not able to worship the devatas. The devatas does not become angry with me. So then Lord says, Madbhayad vati vatoyam
Madbhayat vati vatoyam.
Surya tapati madbhayad
Suryastapati madbhayat.
Varshatindro dadai agni
Varshatindro dahati agnir.
Mrityuscharati madbhayad.
Mrityuscharati madbhayat. It is because of my supremacy that the wind blows out of fear of me. The sun shines out of fear of me. The Lord of the clouds, Indra, sends forth showers out of fear of me. Fire burns out of fear of me. The death goes about taking its toll out of fear of me.
Out of fear of me, the wind blows. Out of fear of me, the sun shines. Out of fear of me, Indra pours rain. And fire burns. Out of fear of me, death flees away. So all the devatas work out of fear of me. Won't the devatas become upset if I just worship you? Never. All of them are fearful of me because I am their master. If they sometimes harass my devotees, I do not delay in removing them from their post. So Lord said that if some devatas trouble my devatas, I will I'll remove them from their respective posts. So they are fearful of me. Shruti also says, Bishasmadvata pavate Bishodeti suryaya Ishasmadagnischandrascha mrutyus dahati panchama. The wind blows out of fear of the Lord. The sun rises in fear, and Agni and Indra moves, and death flees out of fear of the Supreme Lord. All these things will happen out of fear of the Supreme Lord only. So don't worry. You execute bhakti, I will take care of the rest. So Sarvadharman Partyajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Ham Tvam Sarvapapipi Mokshisham Moscha. The meaning of that verse is this verse. If you dedicate to me, I will take care of you. You don't worry about how things are happening. So then, in conclusion, so having described pure bhakti, Lord Kapila now describes the bhakti mixed with jnana, jnana mishra bhakti, or bhakti mixed with yoga, that is yoga mishra bhakti. The last two verses, till now he was talking about ananya bhakti, without any mixture of anything. But still, that everyone may not be able to follow. Some people will follow bhakti with little jnana. Some people will follow bhakti with little yoga. So what happens to them? The last two verses will talk about that. Jnana vairagya yuktena
Jnana vairagya
bhakti yogena yoginah
bhakti yogena yoginaha
kemaya padmulam mein
क्षेमाया पादमूलं मे
pravishanti akuto bhayam.
pravishanti akuto bhayam. The yogis equipped with transcendental knowledge and renunciation and engaged in devotional service for their eternal benefit take shelter of my lotus feet. And since I am the Lord, they are thus eligible to enter into the kingdom of Godhead without fear.
So here Lord says that the jnanis and yogis who take shelter of my lotus feet, the abode of fearlessness, my lotus feet are the abode of fearlessness by bhakti, mixed with jnana and yoga or vairagya. for attaining the highest benefit. So even the devotees who also have some jnana and yoga in their practices, even for the perfection, they also take shelter of Lord's lotus feet. What to speak of the pure devotees, even the mixed devotees, yogis and jnanis, Bhakti Mishra yogis and Bhakti Mishra jnanis can attain perfection of their process only by taking shelter of my lotus feet alone. Without that, one cannot attain the highest perfection. Therefore, for everyone and anyone, Bhakti is the one point solution. It is by Bhakti one attains one's respect to goals or destinations. That he says in the next verse. एतावानेव लोकेऽस्मिन्
एतावानेव लोकस्मिन्
पुंसां निःश्रेयसोदया
पुंसां निःस्पृहशोधया
तीव्रेण भक्तियोगेन
तीव्रेण भक्तियोगेन
मनोमयि अर्पितं स्थिरम्.
मनोमय अर्पितं स्थिरं. Translation. Therefore, persons whose mind are fixed on the Lord engage in intensive practice of devotional service. That is the only means for attainment of the final perfection of life.
The mind offered to me with pure bhakti, with steadiness alone, creates the highest benefit for men in this world. So, what is the formula for attaining the highest benefit? One should practice pure bhakti with complete steadiness and then offer the mind and mind intelligence unto Supreme Lord. Mayarpita manobuddhir mame veshe satyam. So, it's basically tasma sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yuddhacha mayarpita manobuddhir mame veshasi asamshayam. When we execute our bhakti with complete dedication of our mind intelligence and Supreme Lord, one definitely will go to spiritual world without any doubt. But the greatest benefit can be achieved only by offering one's mind in pure bhakti to me. Thus, pure bhakti offered to me is the best of all. There is nothing highest than this. Everything else is inferior. This bhakti is firm, without cheating, devoid of karma, jnana, and it is pure. So basically, ultimately, Lord Kapila is saying that after defining Uttama Bhakti, he says that this Uttama Bhakti only will bring one to Vaikuntha very quickly. So one should come to this point somehow or other. The same thing was told in the second canto, third chapter also. Sukadeva Goswami says, Etavaneva ejatam iha nishroya sadaya bhagavati achalo bhava yad bhagavata sangata. Auspiciousness arises for the worshippers of the devatas if firm devotion to the Lord arises from association with devotees. Even the Devata worshippers can attain the highest perfection when they come in the association of devotees. That is the understanding. Nahi atonya shiva panta vishata samsrutau iha vasudeve bhagavate bhakti yogo yato bhavet. There is no other auspicious path. There is no other auspicious path for those suffering in the material world, because this path produces prema for Bhagavan Vasudeva. So basically, other than bhakti, there is no other auspicious path in this material world, because only bhakti can offer one Krishna prema. All other paths have their own respective results, but not Krishna prema. If at all one want Krishna prema, the one solution is Uttama Bhakti, Ananya Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, received through Vedi sadhana or Raganuga sadhana. So like this. So these are the few points from chapter 25. Then we'll go to chapter 26. Before that, any questions till now?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, why that fear factor is there about demigods return? I mean, told by Lord, because they are also the devotee of the Lord, no? So
See,
why
that fear
is
is not the fear
fearful
like
to?
sinful. That fear, because that fear is coming because of their responsibility towards their service.
Hmm.
That means they are doing their duty of Supreme Lord. When we have some respect towards someone, we also have some fear. That means in their vicinity, we should not do any mistake. Whatever we are supposed to do, we'll do it properly. That is what it is.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So it is like that. Any other devotees, any questions from this chapter? No questions? Hmm. Hey Krishna, what happened? Hare Krishna, devotees have any questions?
No,
No,
Prabhuji.
No, Prabhuji.
Okay, okay. Fine. If there are no questions, we'll go ahead with 26 chapter. We have few minutes, we'll try to do few verses and then we'll stop for today and then we'll continue next week. The chapter 26 says creation of the elements, fifth description of the universal form, fundamental principles of material nature. In the 26th chapter, the manifestation and the characteristics of the elements such as Mahatattva and the universal form composed of those elements and it's being brought to life by the entrance of the Supreme Lord as Paramatma are described. So basically in the creation section we have discussed about how the elements are manifested. Same thing is again mentioned here in summarily and then but elaborately each and every elements characteristics are described in this section. Every element has particular roles and responsibilities and characteristics. They are all detailedly explained in this chapter. That is the main thing of this chapter. It is a big chapter, about 72 verses, breakup of all the verses here. So how this chapter is coming now? Because in the 25th chapter, text number 28, 29, they asked, so please tell me what kind of bhakti I am supposed to follow so that I can attend your lotus feet very quickly. So Lord explained about that bhakti, Uttama bhakti, that Mother Devati is supposed to follow in the previous chapter. In the next verse, Devati asked, Yo yogo bhagavad bhano nirvinatma vayodaitir. Kidrisha Kadichangani Yata Tattva Bodhanam. So please tell me Jnana and Ashtanga Yoga and different divisions of Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga, all those things. Because I want to know about them also. So that was the question. So being questioned by his mother about Bhakti, Jnana and Yoga, Lord Kapila explained about Bhakti in the previous chapter. His mother was completely satisfied. Now, however, even persons engaged in Bhakti, which reigns supreme everywhere with superiority, with authority, since without bhakti, karma, jnana, and yoga cannot give results of sarga or liberation, should be inquisitive to know about karma, jnana, and yoga. Karma, which gives sarga, jnana, and ashtanga yoga, which gives liberation. Even though a devotee who is practicing bhakti with a desire to go to spiritual world should also know about karma, jnana, yoga. So, with that intention, now Lord Kapila is going to speak jnana yoga. Chapter 26, he will speak about jnana Chapter 27 will speak about tapasya and attainment of tapasya, vairagya and attainment of moksha. Chapter 28 will speak about Ashtanga Yoga. Chapter 30, 31, 32 will speak about karma. All these things will be explained in order. So from the previous section in the chapter 5 and all, we saw that how by glancing upon Pradhana, the Supreme Lord created 24 material elements. By their combination, Lord also manifested unlimited Brahmandas, and Brahma, combining the same 24 elements, manifested our individual bodies also. This Vista. And Lord also manifests by Angas of Avidya, which cause our bondage. Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, Abhinivesha. They are there with us. And then there was a discussion about the creation of great sages.
Prabhuji, we can't hear you.
No voice, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, you are not audible.
Hare Krishna. No voice. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. Now you are able to hear me, Mataji?
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Yes.
वो इंटरनेट का इशू था, वो चले गए तो इसलिए. So, so in the previous chapters we saw that how Mahavishnu created 24 material elements from which the universe are formed, and Brahmaji combined them and formed our individual bodies. All of you are able to see the slides?
No, Prabhuji.
No slides?
No.
No.
Now
No, Prabhuji.
slides you should see. Now you should see.
No, we are not able to see the slide.
Okay, okay. Now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Just
Prabhuji.
started.
Yeah. So, in the beginning chapters of third canto, we saw how Mahavishnu, by glancing upon Prakriti, created 24 elements. By combining them, he also formed the universes. And by combining them, Lord Brahma manifested all our individual bodies. And Mahavishnu also manifested Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, Abhinivesha. Brahma used all these 5 Avidyas by which he is causing our bondage. And Brahmaji also created great sages as a representative of Vidya, who teaches how to practice various sadhanas and attain perfection. The Manasa Putras, who are known as Prajapatis, appear to teach Nishkam Karma Yoga. The four Kumaras appear to teach us Tapasya, Jnana, Vairagya and Ashtanga Yoga. And then Narada Muni appeared to teach us Bhakti Yoga. So these are all there. So now the same 6 sadhanas are elaborately explained by Lord Kapila in this section. So Bhakti Yoga is explained in 25th chapter. Till now we discussed. Sankhya Yoga will be explained in 26th chapter. Sankhya Yoga means Jnana Yoga. Tapasya and Vairagya will be explained in 27th chapter. Ashtanga Yoga will be explained in 28th chapter. 29th chapter again talks about Bhakti. Bhakti in 3 different modes and Nirguna Bhakti. And power and influence of Kala is explained in the 29th chapter. Chapter 30 to 32 will explain Vikarma, Sakama Karma and Nishkama Karma Yoga. People in the mode of ignorance practice Vikarma. People in the mode of passion practice Sakama Karma and also Vikarma. Actually, Vikarma is both practiced by ignorance and passion, and people in the passion and goodness practice Sakama Karma and Nishkama Karma Yoga. And these are all for different people. Brahmachari who practices sense control and practices does studies to know all these things. What all these things? Especially Brahmachari is supposed to study systematically. Brahmacharis are supposed to study Sankhya very systematically. That is very much important because it's the fundamental knowledge for anything. And as a Grihastha, one executes Varnashrama duties, Varna duties. They are either in the category of Sakama Karma or Nishkama Karma Yoga. So whatever Brahmachari learns, they are part of Sankhya. And whatever Grihastha does, they are part of Sakama Karma or Nishkama Karma Yoga. And then whatever is being performed by Vanaprasthas, so they can be called as Jnana Yogis or Ashtanga Yogis. Either they practice Tapasya or Vairagya, etc. And Sannyasa, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. So basically these are like only Vanaprastha sannyasis can exclusively practice Jnana and Ashtanga. Grihasthas cannot practice Jnana and Ashtanga exclusively. So this is the traditional approach. But on the other hand, for Bhakti, irrespective of one's ashrama and one's varna, one can practice Bhakti from the very beginning of childhood. Kaumaram, Acharet, Prajnam, Dharman, Bhagavata, Niha. So like that. Bhakti ke liye, there is no need of a prerequisite. Anyone and anywhere can practice Bhakti. But in order to practice Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, there is a prerequisite. Karma Yoga is executed by Grihasthas only. Jnana and Ashtanga is executed by Vanaprastha or Sannyasi only. It is Brahmachari who studies about all these things in the Gurukul. So like that. When a yogi realizes the Brahman, through the realization of Atma, which is like a lamp, after knowing the unborn, unchanging, pure Lord, with all his ornaments, he attains liberation from all bondage. This is from Shvetavatar Upanishad. That means one should know about the Lord in all aspects. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yas chasmi tatvatah tato mam tatvato jnatva. When one knows the Lord tatvatah, then one attains perfection. Then one enters into Brahman or Vaikuntha. Otherwise it is not. This shows that he who has knowledge about the Swarupa of conscious Amsha, the Jivatma, is qualified for the knowledge of the Swarupa of the conscious Amshi, that is the Supreme Lord. Therefore, first the knowledge of the Jiva is taught to all without distinction. If we want to understand the nature of the Supreme Lord, first of all, we need to understand the nature of the individual Jiva, without which we cannot understand the nature of the Supreme Lord. That is understanding. With this and the following verse, that is from Bhagavad Gita text number 16 to 30 in chapter 2, the Lord begins by giving an understanding of the difference between the body and the soul, since such understanding should not come in the middle of the work. The reason is because this chapter is going to talk about Sankhya. There is some Sankhya came in the Bhagavad Gita also. Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 text number 16 to 30 is called as Sankhya. What kind of Sankhya there is? There is the distinction of the difference between the body and the soul. The characteristics of the body and the characteristics of soul are clear-cutly described in this section of Bhagavad Gita. And this should come at the beginning of the studies, so that with this understanding at the premise, at the basis, one can take up Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and attain perfection accordingly by studying the future chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So thus, similarly, here Lord Kapila already explained Bhakti. For practicing Bhakti, this knowledge may be there, may not be there. But for practicing Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Karma Yoga, this knowledge is very much required. Without this knowledge, one cannot practice Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. That's why in chapter 26, in the beginning part, Lord Kapila is talking about what is what. So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna talked about two distinctions, body and spirit, body and soul. But in the Bhagavatam, that body and soul are further disintegrated into 28 varieties. So this chapter will talk about the 28 elements with their characteristics, everything in detail. So that is indicated here. So we also understand that the 5 important topics are discussed in Bhagavad Gita: Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, and Karma. So, and they are also referred sometimes. Atma stands for individual Jiva and Supreme Soul. And sometimes Kala and Prakriti also included in the study of Atma. So we say that we need to understand Atma Jnana. So what was that Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita? Adhyatma Vidya Vidyayam. Among all the types of Vidya, I am the Adhyatma Vidya. Adhyatma Vidya means the study of the nature and characteristics of Atma. So Atma means Atma can be called as Jivatma, Atma can be called as Paramatma. And in Bhagavad Sankhya, the Atma can also gives us the knowledge of Kala and Prakriti. That means Adhyatma Vidya is that Vidya which helps us study Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, and Kala. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out of 5 tattvas of Bhagavad Gita, Adhyatma Vidya will take care of the 4 tattvas. Next. So Bhagavad Gita talks about the distinction between Atma and body. So what in the Atma category we understood 4. In the body category we understand the 5th one. The 5th one is karma. The body means activity. Body is meant for performing certain activity, and that activity is called karma. But how do we execute the activity? We execute every activity with the help of 24 elements. Our body is made up of 24 elements. With the help of those 24 elements, we perform any small activity. What are the 24 elements? 5 Panchamahabhutas, 5 gross elements, 5 Tanmatras, 5 10 subjects, 5 working senses, that is 5 Karmendriyas, 5 knowledge senses, that is 5 Jnanendriyas, and 4 internal senses, 4 Antakarana, that means Man, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chetana. So how many now? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 plus 5, 9. 9 plus 5, 14. 14 plus 5, 14 plus 5, 19. 19 plus 5, 24. 24 plus 4, 28. Total 28 elements. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna only talking about the distinction between Atma and body. But when it comes to Bhagavatam, the Atma is further subdivided into 4. Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, and body is further divided into 24. So here we will study 28 elements. Here in this chapter, Lord Kapila describes these 28 elements, 4 plus 24 in detail. Sankhya means that by which true knowledge of things is perfectly revealed. Sankhya means knowing about something completely, knowing what is what in detail. Sankhya means a perfect process of knowing everything in detail. Sankhya means distinguishing the soul. Soul means the 4 elements. Here Visana, Atma indicates the 4 elements. And body indicates 24 elements. Sankhya means distinguishing the soul from the body. Sankhya means to speak directly about the Paramatma and other entities. 5 subjects are described in Gita. Okay, this is already came. Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. Among them, the all-powerful conscious being is the Supreme Lord Ishvara. The minute conscious being is the Jiva. Prakriti is the substance, which is the shelter of the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Kala is unconscious substance, divide of the gunas, Nimitta Maya. Kala is called as Nimitta Maya. Karma refers to the force or of destiny which fulfills the efforts of the Jiva in response to previous actions. The characteristics of these items are as follows. Among them, the four, Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti and Kala are eternal. Of these 24 or of the five, Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti and Kala are eternal. So karma is temporary and the 24 elements are temporary. Jiva, Prakriti, Kala and Karma are under the control of Ishvara. The fifth item, Karma, has no beginning, but it is liable to destruction, like the prior non-existence. But basically, when our karma began, we don't know. But if we take to bhakti very seriously now, our karma can stop. That is possible because karma is not eternal; it is temporary. Ishvara and Jiva have consciousness as their essential property. The Swarupa of Jiva and Ishvara is their consciousness, being some with potency, fully aware of other things, and have recognition of I, self-awareness, Asmadartha. These are some details from Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita talks about all these things briefly. So basically the introduction to Sankhya. What do you mean by Sankhya? Sankhya means studying analytical study of the 28 elements in toto. Trying to understand what are these 28 elements, what are their characteristics, qualities, activities, etc. is called as Sankhya. So like that. For today, we'll just do the first two verses and then we'll stop. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha
श्रीभगवान् उवाच
आतते संप्रवक्ष्यामि
अथ ते सम्प्रवक्ष्यामि
तत्त्वानां लक्षणं पृथक्
तत्त्वानां लक्ष्मणं पृथक्
यद्विदित्वा विमुच्येत
यद्विदित्वा विमुच्यते च
पुरुषः प्रकृतेर्गुणैः
पुरुषः प्रकृते गुणे. Translation. The personality of Godhead Kapila continued, my dear mother, now I shall describe unto you the different categories of the absolute truth, knowing which any person can be released from the influence of the modes of material nature.
Hmm. The Lord says that now I will describe the features of the elements one by one. Tattvanam lakshanam prutak prutak. Knowing which a person can be freed from the three modes of material nature. So this is the Falashruti. Benefits of hearing Sankhya. One is freedom from the influence of three modes of material nature. What is the result of knowing the qualities of the elements? Jnanam nishreyasataya purushasyaatmadarshanam. Okay. This is second verse. Jnanam nishreyasartaya
ज्ञानं निःश्रेयसार्थाय
purushasyaatmadarshanam.
पुरुषस्यात्मदर्शनम्
Yadahurvarnaye tatte
यदाहुर्वर्णये तत्ते
hridayam grunati granti bedanam.
हृदयग्रन्थिभेदनम्. Knowledge is the ultimate perfection of a self-realization. I shall explain that knowledge unto you by which the knots of attachment to the material world are cut.
So he says that now I will explain to you the knowledge of the Atma, the Supreme Lord, for attaining the highest goal, which they say cuts the knot of the heart. That means in the previous verse, Lord Kapila said that I will explain the 28 elements in sequence. So now he says that I'll start with Atma, the Supreme Lord. To start with, the Lord is going to start with the Supreme Lord, Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, and then the 28 elements, Mahatattva, Ahankara, Man, Buddhi, 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Panchamahabhutas, 5 Tanmatas. Like that, 20 elements are explained. To start with, I will explain about Ishvara. So by knowing the knowledge about Ishvara and all other subsequent elements, one attain the highest goal. What is the highest goal? Cutting the knot of the heart. Hridaya Granthi Vedanam. What are the other benefits of Sankhya? From knowing the characteristics of the elements arises the knowledge of the Atma separate from the body. This self-realization cuts the knot of attachment. So basically, as we previously said, Atma stands for Jivatma, as Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala. And the Sharira, body ka stands for 24 elements. When we understand the distinction of Atma from the body, so one becomes freed from the influence of three modes. Second thing, one attains self-realization. As a result of that, one cuts the knot of attachment. So these are the some benefits. So in the beginning only, the Falashruti is given so that one can take interest in hearing and studying this particular chapter more seriously. So that is how Lord Kapila is giving in the beginning only. And is starting the subject with the description of Ishvara. So starting from verse number 3 onwards, the discussion about Ishvara will be given. Text number 3 to 8 will talk about Jiva, Prakriti, Purusha. That means Ishvara, Jiva and Prakriti. These three things are mentioned in the next 6 verses. So, but anyway, we will discuss all these things in the next week because all the things are remaining things are also connected to each other. So they will be in one connection. So in that way, we'll stop here for today. Any questions from the devotees?
Krishna Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
जी chapter 25 last shloka text 44 in purpose Prabhupada written here explain here that first of all the mind should be engaged in the lotus feet of the Lord very steadily and naturally because the mind is the master of senses. When the mind is engaged, all the senses become engaged. This is Bhakti Yoga. So Prabhuji, my question is in condition stage what happen uh, सपोज हमें कुछ सेवा सपोज दिया गया तो हम क्या करते हैं अपना मनमानी कुछ भी कर लेते हैं सेवा में कुछ भी तरह तो अथॉरिटी अगर कुछ सेवा दिया तो क्या वी हैव टू आस्क ईच स्टेप हर स्टेज में हम अथॉरिटी से पूछना है कि ये कैसा होगा ये कैसे होगा या फिर उसमें क्या हम कुछ कर लेते हैं मनमानी हो जाता है तो इसको कैसे देखें क्या सही है राइट
See, Prabhuji, in the Bhagavad Gita, when Lord Krishna says or when Prabhupada writes, engage our mind means that is actually very highest level. So, when the question which you are asking is in practical level, it is at a basic level. So, when some seva is there, how to do? So, whether we will do according to our own ideology, according to our understanding of how things to be done, or we can do with the guidance of some senior devotees. So, it depends. अकॉर्डिंग टू द नीड ऑफ द आवर समटाइम द गाइडेंस देने वाला कोई है ही नहीं तो क्या करेंगे आपको जैसा लगे वैसा करने का इफ देयर इज समवन हु कैन गिव अस गाइडेंस वी कैन टेक द गाइडेंस sometimes we can have both combinations we can take some guidance and we can also add our own input and then do it so these are all like basic things these are nothing to do with engaging the mind in the service of the Lord in the sense of course here also, this is also engaging the mind in service of the Lord but when in the Bhagavad Gita when Lord says mayarpita manobuddhir mamavishya sasamshaya means that is on the highest level. So that we cannot bring it here. But on the practical ground, it all depends. So when things have to be done, things should be done in a proper way. For that, we can take mutual consensus and then do it. Sometimes there is no one to take consultation and then we can do it ourselves. So whatever way, it should be done properly. That is more important. Whether with consultation or without consultation, the things should be done properly. That is more important. So we can do it things we can do the things properly if we are matured enough. If we are not matured enough, we can take consultation. There is no issue in that, no harm in that.
Thank you.
But from Bhagavad Gita point of view, Mayar Pita Manobuddhir Manobuddh, that means that is on the Smaranam platform. That is on the Leela Smaranam, Nama Smaranam, Guna Smaranam, Rupa Smaranam. That platform, that man is indicating there. So in that way.
Hare Krishna
Thank you.
Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Yes,
हरे
Hare
कृष्ण
Krishna.
प्रभु जी।
Yes, ma'am.
प्रभु जी, आपने जैसे कहा कि पहले भक्ति योग कपिल भगवान ने माता जी को सुना दिया था, देन वाई ही एक्सप्लेन ऑल दिस 24 मटेरियल एंड ऑल, क्योंकि आपने कहा कि ये सब जो है ज्ञान योग कर्म योग के लिए ज्ञान की जरूरत है, भक्ति योग के लिए किसी चीज की जरूरत नहीं है, देन वाई ही एक्सप्लेन ऑल दिस थिंग्स?
It is not that they are not required. They are also required, but bhakti के लिए these prerequisites are not stringent. Some people, even without knowing all these things, also can practice bhakti because they are very simple people. Without knowing much knowledge, also they can practice bhakti. They can do Harinama Kirtan. कीर्तन करने के लिए क्या ज्ञान का आवश्यकता है? कुछ जरूरत नहीं. बट उससे आगे बढ़ने के लिए, if somebody want to understand everything in tatvataha, if somebody want to preach, so they need to know about all these things. We cannot deny the knowledge of all these things for everyone. For some who are very simple, yeah, they are happy with chanting, yeah, they are happy with that. And for some, because they are intellectually motivated and they are looking for preaching and all, for them this knowledge is a great help.
तो अगर we chant only Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it is self sufficient in everything, right?
Yeah, it's self sufficient. Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Rajet. Out of the Navada Bhaktis, even if you take shelter of any one of the 9 Angas, one can go back to Godhead. There is no doubt about it. But provided one should be satisfied with that. One should be able to do that one Anga completely, wholeheartedly for the rest of the life. Then no problem. But some people can't do that. Kirtan alone one cannot do continuously. So they need some other engagement. Some people might need physical engagement in the temple management services, etc. And some people might need some intellectual engagement, studying this Sankhya, Yoga, this Tattva, that Tattva, Jiva Tattva, this Tattva, that Tattva. All these things are there. It all depends on the nature of the person. Accordingly, so it happens. But whatever it is, whether somebody needs it or not, since you are doing Bhakti Vaibhav, you need to study this. For you, there is no excuse. Whether you want it or not, you need to study. You need to hear, study, and give exam. Afterwards, whether you want to pursue it or not is up to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Prabhuji, somebody want to say something?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Ah.
Prabhuji, in last chapter, Prabhuji, as you said, devotees are bringing via Brahmananda go to Vaikuntha Loka. So, Prabhuji, in all cases, Lord via Brahmananda, అంటే मतलब मेरा कहने का मतलब है कि प्रभु जी ये वैदिक साधना भक्तस और रागानुगा भक्तस all are the same path, प्रभु जी.
See, anyway, Bhagavan taking them to Vaikuntha, spiritual world. In the spiritual world, one may go to Vishnu Loka, or one may go to Rama Loka, one may go to Krishna Loka, wherever one may be. But on the way, for few seconds or for few moments, Lord shows them Brahmananda also. Because, see, how can you compare? Unless until you know, how can you compare? Which is greater?
Okay, for comparison, yes.
You saw Brahmananda, you went to spiritual world, and you are also wait. You saw Brahmananda, and then you went to spiritual world, and you are experiencing spiritual happiness. Then you yourself will compare which is best among these two. If somebody thought that Brahmananda is better than Vaikuntha, they might have gone to Brahman. Lord will not stop them. If they want to go to Vaikuntha Brahman, Lord will tell, okay, no problem, we go. But are there any examples like that in the scriptures? Somebody who saw Brahmananda, who also saw Vaikuntha, and then came back to Brahman?
No problem.
So like that.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Any other devotees have any questions? Okay. If there are no questions, I think we'll stop here. Sorry, here I'm in Chandigarh now. I'm